All right, guys, welcome back. This is a really um, quite a pivotal clip. Actually, it's quite fundamental to everything about defending. And in this clip, you're going to see several things that are totally what you shouldn't be doing on a football pitch defensively, right? And again, remember, we're harking back to zones. So for those of you who need a recap or you're not sure what zones are, a zone is an area of a pitch that you are defensively responsible for, right? And the simplest way to think about zones is a line straight down the pitch from goal to goal, splitting the pitch in half one way, and a line, the halfway line essentially, in a normal football pitch, going left to right, right to left, whichever way you think of it. Okay, so you've got 4 quadrants, simple as that. And you're responsible, 2 and 2, really, in the simple way of defending, for those zones. So this is a really interesting clip. If you look at this clip right now, yellows have just lost the ball. And again, the only reason we're using yellows as an example is because the camera's this end, so it's a lot easier to see it from a defensive perspective and see where mistakes might be made and how to correct them, right? This is a really great clip for that sense, all right? I'm not using it purely because of who's involved, but it's a really useful clip to see. So yellows have just had an attack. It's been a quick kind of turnaround. The ball is up with the goalkeeper at the other end, which is right there. Alex is pressing Chris Alwood, I think, in goal. And if you look at yellows, if you think about it from a defensive perspective, you're not in a bad position, really. The only real problem you've got is you've completely overcommitted, and in actual fact, Eddie at the back, number 6, is your goalkeeper. So straight away you got a problem, right? Now, I don't have a problem with the goalkeeper being out like that, being a spare man. There's another video in this little series I put together which is all about overloading and the benefits of doing it. So there's not a problem there. The problem is that from a defensive perspective right now you've got an issue, right? Because if Darks turn this around quick, you're in real trouble, and it does play out that way. So if you watch this, if I just roll this on a little bit, at that position there, you're thinking defensively you're not bad, right? But if you watch JC centrally points where he wants that ball. There he goes. He says, give me that ball down that right hand side, get it on my right foot, come inside, hit a shot. Simple as that. He wants a quick release. Doesn't get it, right? So he comes back inside. Eddie's dropping off, he's going back in goal. That's fair enough, but right now you don't have anyone defensive in that position, so I guess your goalkeeper as a sweeper needs to stay out on that last striker who, because it was a quick turnaround, he hasn't got back in defence, so he's a spare man up front. And if you look at it positionally, there's a couple of things that are a problem. You've got 2 players left hand side, okay, and you've got 2 players right hand side, but one of them's out of the game. It's Alex. He's gone to press the goalkeeper, trying to nick a ball to put it in the net, didn't win it, and now as a result, you're not defending. Might feel you are, but you're not. So if you look at me, I'm just the other side of Carlos, top right. In this moment, I start walking Carlos the other side of the pitch. And the reason I'm doing that is to free Adria top right. Now Carlos is aware of it, he spots it, he goes, hang on, this guy's free. It's the only pass that Blacks have got, right? It's the only pass available, really, unless you go long to JC. And Carlos goes, this guy needs taken, and if you watch Carlos's body shape, he stops and he starts moving towards Adria. Okay, so he's clearly saying, I'm going to take this player, which is great, because if you think about the zonal marking angles we were talking about, those quadrants, he's taking responsibility for that space. The only problem is, in doing so, there's confusion, right? So as I walk across him, he points to Adria, he goes, I'm going to go and get Adria, and he points to me. And you can only assume in that moment he's talking to the nearest man, which is Eric, and saying, I'm going to go get Adria, you take Chill, right? So what Eric should be doing in that moment, one of these 2 players, and it looks like, based on what's happening, Eric should be dropping off, right? should latch onto me. In actual fact, they should be dropping off already because JC's top side of the pitch, and Eddie should be telling them, I've got one back here, get back, right? So one player should be coming back to deal with JC. And that's going to be man for man because essentially he's right in the middle of the pitch. Okay? Doesn't happen. Watch what happens. So he's walking across, he's gone, I've got this guy, you take this guy. Ball goes out. What happens? Eric chases the ball. Right? Chases the ball. And that immediately you can see has caused chaos. Why? Because you've made a mistake in terms of the balance of your pitch. You've got two players on that left-hand side. One can take that top quadrant. The other one can come back and deal with this left-hand side, right? And whoever's in it. In this case, it's JC. He's centrally, but you can take that player. The minute Eric does that, it disrupts the balance of the team completely. And in that moment, look at JC and myself, we get a really nice spread attacking going on, right? We've given the guy on the ball, which is Adria, two really clear options. He's got a third. He could go back to the goalkeeper. Why'd you do that when you've got an overload? And, you know, defense is in disarray. And that's simply because you've done something you shouldn't have done. You've chased the ball. And I talk about this in other videos, hunting the ball. You know, you've got Alex and you've got Eric, top of the pitch. They're both strikers, right? They want that ball back so they can score a quick goal. Doesn't get it. Ball goes down the line. Exactly where JC wanted it. Wanted it earlier in that spot from the goalie. Goalie didn't play it. Gets it on his right foot. Eddie's come out to, you know, casually kind of put him off. But all it does is it gives a really simple pass to me and a goal. Let's just run that back one more time. All of that comes from a miscommunication. Carlos needs to go and press that guy. In actual fact, it's not really Carlos's guy to press Adria. It's Alex's. And Alex has just squeezed the goalkeeper trying to score a goal. So they've got to compensate for that. The only way they can compensate is to drop. The really important thing to understand about chasing the ball, right? Chasing the ball is pressing. And the problem with pressing, as you can see here, the minute one player does it, everyone's got to do it. And no one does. There's only one person there that presses a ball. No one else does. If you watch Victor top left, he gets drawn to the ball, right? He's ball watching. In he comes. He's pointing to me, which is not helping. You've got two guys there, both pointing to a problem. Neither of them are dealing with it. You just got to defend. You've just got to get back and mark that player, right? Simple as that. So that press there has caused a massive problem because no one else is pressing. This is the thing that you don't understand about pressing. The minute one player does it, everyone has to do it. And that causes a massive problem because if you're not communicating about when and where you do it, it leaves people open. It's a problem you have with goalkeepers. Like, do you go and press a goalkeeper when he comes up the pitch? Realistically, no, because unless everyone else is pressing, it's a spare pass. He comes out, he draws a player, he plays to another player that's open, and it's a ripple effect, right? Someone else goes and marks that player, and guess what? Someone else is open because you've overloaded the pitch. So it's, in essence, if you're smart with the ball, you just play to a player that's completely open, to another player that's open and goal, right? It's easy. You create a problem for yourself by doing exactly what Eric did there. The minute he does that, the minute he breaks that shape, in actual fact, what should happen there is, you know, Alex should just start getting back. He should come back nice and central. One of them's got to understand that JC is a problem, so he's got to come back. Realistically, that the way things are moving there, that should be Carlos. Carlos could just stay with me, right? I'm trying to walk him away, but if those two players both dropped and Alex came back into a shape on that right-hand side, so he's drifting into that space now, then you're nicely balanced. You've got a nice 2-and-2. You're close enough to players to stop an easy ball getting played to them. And all you do is you come back into a shape, nice and tight, and you stop people playing through you. You make it difficult. You don't need to do anything special. You don't need to chase a ball, right, to get the ball back. All you need to do is be organised and disciplined in how you defend. And if people move from zone to zone like I do, see, I go from being in that top right to this bottom left. and nobody goes with me. No one is looking after that space. No one's being responsible for that space. In that moment there, Eddie's got to be loud. He's got to be saying, get back, get back, get back to somebody, probably probably Victor, sorry, in this moment, and also Carlos. Carlos should be dropping right. Vic should be busting the gut to get back, or Alex has started to get back, so he's got to come back and deal with me. None of them do. They all get sucked to the ball. Everyone's watching the ball. You've got every single player on your team right now has got their back to me. And also Jensen, for that matter. If Jensen put a shift in and got forward, then you've got an even bigger problem, right? You've got a complete overload. And all we've done is we're still defensively sound. We've got 2 players back, 2 players forward, and we score a really, really, really simple goal. And it's all because of defensive problems. And if you look at that last piece of the jigsaw here, the insult to injury, right? Eddie looks at Carlos and goes, where the fuck were you? And he has a point on one side because Carlos has to identify there's an issue and just get back. But it's not Carlos's fault. Carlos tried to do, if we go all the way back, tried to do the right thing. There's a problem there. I'm going to deal with him. You take this guy. And Eric just doesn't pay attention. And that simple miscommunication and then not doing what you need to do, not understanding that you've just got to get back in that minute because you've done the wrong thing, causes you a problem. And it results in a goal. Hopefully that's a benefit, guys. I think it's a really smart example, not least of all because I put the ball in there. Get in there. Nah, jokes. It's really just a simple way of trying to identify what we should be doing defensively on a pitch.